So after we've cut the subject out of the background, let's take a look at applying some new integration features as far as placing the subject against a different background and making them fit a little bit better with the tones and colors of that new background that they're going to be going into. So I'm just going to look under the File menu here. I'm just going to choose an option here that may be new to some of you. This has been around for quite a few versions of Photoshop, but rather than opening an existing document, finding the file or the layer that you're trying to choose and grabbing and dragging and dropping over, cutting and pasting it into this document, we have the option to either place as an embedded graphic or placed as a linked graphic. So those of you that are familiar with web design, web development, placing graphics that are in an HTML document, this would be absolutely a linked method, meaning that if you rename or you happen to change the location of that linked file, it's going to come up as a broken link and a missing link. So this could be problematic. The benefit of it is that you can work with files that are a little bit lighter over your system or your network. This is the option I'm going to choose here, which says place embedded, which is going to place a graphic. I'm just going to choose this sort of brick background here. It's going to place this graphic into the layout, but it's going to embed it into this document. In other words, it's going to become part of this, this document that I've been working on here. Of course, it's going to be adding extra weight to this document simply because it is part of that. What we can do, as usual, we can make an adjustment to scale this thing, arrange it. And one of the nice benefits of working with this place embedded feature is that it's going to place this graphic as soon as you apply this little checkbox up here on the control panel, or hit the enter key on the keyboard, return. It's going to render this, and you're going to see it's going to come in here as a smart object. So you're probably familiar with smart objects, meaning that they link back to their original PSB counterparts, and any modifications you make there will update in real time on the placed smart object. So I'm just going to drag this behind in the layer stack here, put that brick behind the subject, and you can see there's probably a little bit of we got a bit of a matting issue here. It's not terrible, but it could be better. We could even clean that up a bit even before I could show you with this. So you see there's sometimes a little bit of a white line, especially if the background was white, or it could be a darker line if the background was a little bit darker. That sometimes gives away your extraction a little bit. So there's a nice little feature here you might not be aware of. I'm just going to choose the subject layer here in the layer panel. I'm just going to go up to the layer menu here and scroll all the way to the bottom, and you're going to see something called matting. So this gives you the option to use some defringing, remove black matte, remove white matte. We kind of have a little bit of everything happening here. So the option we're going to choose here is going to be color decontaminate. And basically what this allows is to go in and allow Photoshop to scan the nearest approximate color that's adjacent to your mask edge and add that color around that contour. And you'll see that'll kind of clean up a little bit of that white or lighter or even darker line that's going around the contour of your image. I'll probably put it somewhere around there. Let's hit OK. Keep in mind, if you do this, this will actually make a permanent change and possibly damage your original layer. So you may want to do a duplicate of that just to show you here. If I disable that layer, you can see this is what it's done. It's added this little bit of fringing around the edge there. It matches the color of the nearby skin tone or the color of his shirt, as you see here. So this is a permanent alteration that gets applied to the layer. It just happens to be hidden by the edge of the mask there. But if you ever want to go back to the original for whatever reason, you want to make sure you make a duplicate of that. So now that I've done a little bit of fringing around the edge there, you'll notice that there's a slight contrast difference between the subject and the background. So we can use one of these new features in the filter menu to help neutralize those colors or make them feel a little bit more harmonious with each other. So I'm going to go under the filter menu, and we have this thing called neural filters that has been added. So there's a few of these that are still in beta. These are some of the newest and quite shockingly good filters that are working off of this neural network of millions of images that are online in a database, that it's able to use a type of AI or artificial intelligence to figure out what it's looking at and figure out the best possible solution. So the first one that we're going to go to here is this harmonize option. So if we click this one on, it's going to ask you to choose which layer would you like to harmonize this layer with. So I'm going to choose obviously the background layer here, which is the brick wall. It's going to take a second to process, so it's processing here locally, and you see within a couple seconds here, it's rendered a version that it thinks is a better tonal and color match for the background. If you're looking in the harmonization window over here, you have the ability to adjust the strength. If you find the effect was too much, you can dial it down. If you think it was not enough, you could increase it. You can see here it's sort of flattening out some of those highlights and shadows. You also have the ability to adjust the overall brightness of the subject. So if you feel that they're not quite blending in as much as you'd like. Then we also have obviously saturation options, and then we have your primary color channels, so red, green, blue, cyan, magenta, yellow, that allow you to kind of tweak and adjust to get the color exactly as you want it. As soon as you hit OK, it's going to output to a new flattened sort of layer where it's going to have applied your layer mask. It basically just calls it layer 1, whatever the next layer is in that structure. You can just turn this off and on to see the before and after results. So there's the before, and there's the after. So you see it's applied pretty good job on the contrast here overall.